Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have went to the toilet first. I just started this up and I now need toilet. Well, that wasn't very smart. Whatever, we'll work with it. Right. This game's so cool. Okay, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get a 35-minute timer, because that's how long it takes for one of the trophies. And we're gonna just go right on. Basically, one of the trophies is just to beat the game in 35 minutes or less. So we're gonna try and accomplish that one first, I think. That gets one of the most stressful trophies out of the way.
Are you filled with feelings of self-doubt? Do you find yourself prone to minimizing massive dilemmas? Or for allowing the smallest problems to get blown completely out of proportion? At the Pierce Institute, our patent-pending Somnosculpt technology provides safe...
I can't skip this, and I hate it.
...therapy while you rest in the comfort of our flagship clinic. Located right next to the secondary overflow parking lot at the University Medical Centre. Somnosculpt, we'll make your dreams come true.
Right, now we're not worried about anything else and none of the other trophies, we just have to beat the game.
Terms of service accepted. Congratulations on falling asleep. Welcome to Somnosculpt. Your progress may be monitored by qualified specialists. This orientation will adapt you to eyelids, our interactive, lucid induction dream state in which you retain full consciousness and control. Confirmed. You can move freely, interact with surrounding objects, and listen to messages from your patient care team.
I can't waste time.
Please note that I am the standard orientation protocol, and that my voice has been explicitly chosen to remind you that I am not a part of your patient care team. I do not care.
I mean, that's just mean, you know?
During eyelids, you will lose the ability to awaken suddenly due to realizing that this is a dream. Evidence: I have already informed you that this is a dream. You did not wake up. Please complete the remaining orientation activities.
See stuff far back across. There we go, got it.
All environments perceived during eyelids should reflect a typical mental state. If you believe your mental state was compromised by Somnosculpt, please provide a comprehensive, rational explanation in your post-procedural survey. Completed surveys may be eligible for a gift card.
Ping. Booyah.
Please stand by for polite recognition on your completion of the Somnasculpt orientation. You did it. To maximize the time allotted for your therapeutic journey, please do not delay in proceeding through the final doorway as indicated.
Fuck, I can't remember what the thing is. There you go. We're ignoring all fire extinguishers and all that stuff for the first run. And the secret constellations over there. Although this game works, bro, it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful game. Ping. Very therapeutic. Will I do? I reckon I'll do.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'd like to talk to you about being special. So special, in fact, that we have no idea where you are. But not to worry, we're working on it.
Apple. It's just not gonna work, is it? It's just not gonna work. Oh, I need that, I forgot.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'm just popping in to give you a quick update on where you are. We still don't know, but please keep moving forward, and hopefully you prefer frequent updates to being reminded that you are completely lost.
We just rolling through the game.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and we still can't find you. But you should now have access to a series of elevators that should trigger your subconscious to gradually wake you up. You should also find a variety of emergency exit signs that should lead you to them. Will all of this work? Absolutely.
You don't sound certain at all. Come on, Glenn, I need you to be certain, man.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce. In the event that this elevator does not wake you up, please don't interact with anything that strikes you as psychologically significant, as we will no longer have any way of controlling it. For example, if you see your parents, please punch them in the face as hard as you can and immediately run away.
I'm wasting time. And I know I am. I swear there's supposed to be something up here. Dunno. I'm worried I'm gonna have to do this again because I took too long now. I'm taking unnecessary delays trying to find other trophies at the same time, which is probably not the smartest idea I know, but... Right, shut up.
This is an automated message for all patients who attempted to use an alternate pathway to access the next phase of Somnasculpt therapy, but who have become trapped in a dream state paradox instead. Your decisions imply a failure of orientation, which reflects negatively on the standard orientation protocol. You will rectify this failure immediately.
I have no idea what the purpose of this room is. Oh, I thought it was just gonna be falling.
Professional tip: the average adult can only withstand 3 to 5 dreams per night. Once this threshold is eclipsed by
So to
entering more
consider, there
dreams,
is, that's
your
traffic.
mind will suffer an explosive mental overload, reorienting you for the emergency exit protocol. Please subject yourself to explosive mental overload. Please note that a reluctance to volunteer for the risks associated with explosive mental overload implies a misunderstanding of all other solutions, all of which are far more traumatic and likelier to result in catastrophe. I am not capable of suboptimal suggestions. Please exit this dream as soon as possible.
I'm trying to make up for my time now. We only have 18 minutes left. This ideally should be a trophy for the last one, but... Fuck it, we do shit out of order.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and despite touring the Waterfall Serenity Zone in the previous section you've just completed, you may still be experiencing feelings of worthlessness and self-doubt.
Thank you.
Why do I feel like everything is going wrong, even when the sun is shining?
Yep, that's correct.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'd like to talk more about the feelings of worthlessness and self-doubt I mentioned before. You feel this way because you want the kind of happy life you see all around you. The kind you know everyone else is enjoying.
Damn.
And that's exactly why we're here to help.
Warning. You were advised to subject yourself to explosive mental overload by descending into additional dreams, but have now descended into a dream within a dream instead, disorienting yourself even further. You are responsible for failing to make this crucial distinction.
Oh, dude, I can't remember the exit. Found the exit. Also higher.
Did you know that unintentional multi-dream layering occurs in less than 1% of patients? This correlates strongly with the 99% of patients who are able to follow simple instructions from the standard orientation protocol.
You find out it was all a dream. We're 30 minutes through the game, which I know is not happening. But honestly, I'll take what I can get. I'm probably gonna have to rerun this again. Oh, I still have all this section. I forgot about this section.
Attention! Dr. Pierce requires you to note the following risks of dream overexposure. Significant memory loss, both quantitative and qualitative. Hallucinations of dreaded or annoying objects. Unrealistic beliefs about the lengths of hallways. And other side effects which have not yet been discovered or which cannot be understood.
That was how you're supposed to do it. I did it completely wrong the first time.
Warning. Dr. Pierce is frantically submitting numerous spelling and grammar mistakes into the standard orientation protocol in a desperate attempt to counsel you. I have no subroutine to correct these errors, but I cannot compromise the integrity of the standard orientation protocol. You will not receive these messages. They would not make sense regardless. Attention. Dr. Pierce continues to input significant errors. I will interpret his basic ideas. Hello. My introductions are redundant. I am a real doctor who went to doctor school. VR has never been a mistake. I can help you, but I also do not know how. Transmission ends.
Hello. Name is my Pierce Dr. Glenn. To the Somnosculpt Welcome Experience, team...
Jesus Christ, my son's going crazy. Oh yeah, this room. I like this room. I can't step up and chat to it, but I do like this room.
Hello. My name is Dr. Glenn Pierce. This is a notification that you have reappeared on our monitoring system after a prolonged absence. Please continue to do whatever you did most recently, and discontinue whatever you were doing immediately prior to that. Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce. In addition to continuing and discontinuing as mentioned earlier,
There's no just chat
please
into
also
chat. It feels
disregard
really awkward.
any unsettling experiences that you may have recently had. Everything should have now reverted to being soothing and therapeutic. If this is not the case, you may be receiving this message in error. Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'd like to read you my favorite inspirational quote by me. The worst thing you can do is focus on negativity. It won't spare you from the cage of death, the pain of disease, the cruelty of time, the cold shell of human nature,
I don't feel
or
bad.
the eventual loss of everything you've ever held dear. Whatever you do, don't focus on that.
Thanks, bud. That really helps. It's very precarious, I don't like it.
My name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'd like to thank you for triggering every single one of our 823 emergency protocols. This will assist us greatly in improving the system for future patients. Congratulations. Anyway, you're now headed in the right direction, and we should be able to initiate the emergency exit protocol shortly.
He's so happy, it's amazing. Run, rabbit, run! I'll get one trophy from this run. I don't want to get both trophies, I don't think, though. Because I have less than 5 minutes left. What the fuck? And there's more than 5 minutes of gameplay left. It's fine, it's because I lost it too much. I know what I did wrong. So I know I have to fix it.
Emergency exit protocol initiated. Please prepare to conclude your Somnasculpt experience in 10, 9, 8. Error. Error logged by.
Orientation protocol.
Stand by for analysis.
Error analysis complete. You are exhibiting signs consistent with an increase in fear, hopelessness, and frustration. This is inconceivable, as Somnasculpt therapy is proven to correlate with a decrease in these emotions. Hypothesis: patient was improperly oriented. Conclusion: impossible. Reformulating. Improved hypothesis: patient requires additional Somnasculpt therapy. Conclusion: emergency exit protocol cannot proceed. Emergency exit protocol has been emergency destroyed. Instruction: continue with Somnasculpt therapy indefinitely on an independent basis, as all orientation resources have been exhausted. This concludes your standard orientation protocol. Goodbye.
Ready, get pulled back in 3, 2, 1. Pull. And pull. Portal. Portal.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce. Thank you for completing the Somnasculpt Standard Orientation Protocol. Before you begin the first phase of therapy, I'd like to briefly describe the finite and fragile nature of the dream state.
My runs aren't gonna make anyway, so might as well go these. What the fuck? Okay. Right, that's my timer, so we ain't making it, but that's all good.
Of course, nothing is more challenging than the difficulty of changing perspective, of fundamentally altering your perceptions in a way that will enable you to face dire, trial-by-fire scenarios with solutions that could not be found otherwise.
There we go. Subconscious is going unstable.
Finally, while we respect the unique progress of every patient, you must understand that it is possible to completely exhaust your supply of dreams, thereby entering a state in which you will not be able to wake up, even with the help of triggering mechanisms. Please listen carefully for the sound of an alarm clock, which will automatically play if you are approaching a destabilizing dream weight.
Got focus camera now.
This is highly unusual. It appears you have entered the Somnasculpt diagnostic framework. Patients do not have access to this dream. Diagnostic warning. Unrealistic use of dream objects may result in dream integrity fail states. Please paradox from creating any refrains. Explosive dream overload may result. Please paradox overload.
There we go. Time to fuck our mind right up.
Please overload for dream explosion. Exclusion dream overcall frame.
Sounds good.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and many years ago, I had a dream. I found myself in a place where I understood that each of us begins as nothing, where everything I perceived was shaped by seeing it exactly the way I wanted to. White space.
It's a really cool fact. So simplistic and so easy to make, more like a perception thing. Makes it look difficult.
But in white space, I also faced the greatest challenge I could imagine. Because with a lifetime of life itself behind me, and all of the weight that it carried, I realized that seeing things the way I wanted to was not as easy as it used to be.
Yeah, it's fun.
You're well beyond dreaming now, and further out than anyone has ever come back from. But we hope that you won't get discouraged. After all, if this is a place of pure perspective, isn't it also a place where a different point of view could make anything possible? Isn't that why you came here?
I've just done the same thing twice. There you go. Got it. Oh, I hate this fucking room. Speedrunner. Done it in less than an hour. So this is where I end the timer. Right. Good to know. So, since I wasted about 5 minutes ranting at the beginning,
and by now,
I've jumped 7 minutes somewhere.
All of this has happened exactly the way it was supposed to. You see, everyone who comes to the Institute does so because they feel that they are no longer in control of something important to them. But, more often than not, the problem is not that the problems we face can't be solved. The problem is that we become so afraid of failure that we refuse to see our problems from a new perspective. And so, we do the same things again and again and again. And therein, of course, we find exactly the failure we were looking for. Your life will always be a struggle, and you will always have problems.
Welcome back.
But today, you have the chance to see things differently. Even though it meant facing obstacles that seemed impossible at first, you thought outside the box, and you overcame them. Because you saw things from every angle, you understood them for what they really were. Because you kept moving forward, no matter how far off the path you were told you were headed, or how unexpected it became, you found your way.
This game is really just fucking speedrun. I think the fastest I've ever seen this done is probably maybe 20 minutes. On average, it takes like 2 hours to play through this fucking game, but the fastest you can go for it is 20.
In a few minutes, you'll be back in the real world, and some part of you will say that none of this was real. So, how could it have really meant anything? But, just like the power of perspective itself, it will have been as real as you believed it to be. All you've got to do is wake up.
All honesty, love this game. I'm curious what the devs have to say about the actual game, so I'm just going to let it play through.
Hello, and welcome to the Superliminal Developer Commentary. I'm Albert, game director of Superliminal. Myself and the rest of the team will be popping up every now and then as you play. With subtitles open, you can see who is talking and what their role on the game is.
Pending Somnosculpt technology provides safe and effective dream therapy while you rest in the comfort of our flagship clinic. Located right next to the secondary overflow parking lot at the University Medical Centre. Somnosculpt will make your dreams come true.
Hi, my name's Chris. I was the producer and designer on Superliminal.
Hi, this is Will O'Neill, and I was the writer on Superliminal.
Okay, so that very beginning of Superliminal is actually one of the last parts we finished. Throughout.
A lot of people ask about how the resizing mechanic works. The concepts are actually quite easy. To keep an object looking the same, assume if we move the object twice as far away, it just needs to be twice as big. It's all proportional. Interestingly enough, this also works no matter what field of view you use. The hard part of this mechanic isn't the actual resizing. It's trying to figure out where the object needs to be. To do this, you need to test a weirdly shaped object with a weirdly shaped background, and trying to find the right ratio for the object to be big enough to not touch anything, while keeping everything accurate and optimized.
Confirmed. You can move freely, interact with surrounding objects, and listen to messages from your patient care
Hi, my name is Alex, and I performed gameplay programming on Superliminal.
protocol, and that my voice has been
When I joined the project, there weren't really any menus except the absolute bare minimum to get the player into the game, and
They
there
put
wasn't
me
any
the fucking
keyboard
start
support
ones.
either.
Sorry, I can't
So the
hear
first
anymore.
order of business was to add proper mouse and keyboard support to the title and pause menus. The hardest part was supporting switching between the two on the fly, because you never know when the player is going to do it, and it could lock them out of the game.
during eyelids. You will
With that foundation laid, I started working on controller support. In terms of the
fucking
menus, there
buttons
wasn't
are.
much work to do. The pad basically acts like a keyboard. But gameplay was quite a different story. As we approached launch, we all agreed that controller support wasn't quite up to par, and so we shipped without it, adding it around a month after launch. To make controllers feel as good as mouse and keyboard, I wrote a bunch of code to modify how controller input is interpreted. For mouse and keyboard, input is more or less one-to-one mapped to player movement. So you move the mouse and the camera turns. But that doesn't feel good with controllers. Trying to pick up a very small object, say a chess piece, could be quite finicky. In the end, I made it so looking around accelerates the longer the stick is pressed, and behaves differently based on whether you are looking vertically or horizontally, and also while you are holding
Okay,
an
fuck you
object.
for that decision, by the way. That's really
Probably
annoying.
the biggest change was a quote-unquote auto-lock feature, which draws the focus to a grabbable object as your cursor gets closer to it. All these changes culminated in controllers feeling much more accurate and satisfying.
Hi, I'm Logan, and I'm level designer on Superliminal. We had this looping hallway for a while, but it was very nondescript and players got confused on where they were and they would get turned around. So our artist Steve helped mock up some windows and landmarks so people can tell where they are. Immediately, we found that playtesters weren't getting lost anymore and understood the moment.
Please stand by for polite recognition on your completion of the Somnasculpt orientation. You did it. To maximize the time allotted for your therapeutic journey, please do not delay in proceeding through the final doorway as indicated.
There we go, that works.
The reason we ended up with this sleep clinic section is because we wanted to convince players that they might have actually woken up from the dream. So we don't have any dreamlike mechanics you can play with until you get to the vending machine. Later on, this becomes a hub you come back to in order to emphasize the feeling of waking up from a dream within a dream.
Hey, this is Matt. I did the music and sound. So my brief for the jazz part of this soundtrack was always to do my best to emulate the iconic solo jazz piano sound of the great Bill Evans. For that, I listened to an album called Alone. My process was to try to compose my own superliminal jazz standards. I fleshed out the first chorus and melody. Later on, I workshopped and recorded with my good friend John Reeves. And I'm so glad I did, because his piano skills are so much better than mine.
Why do you sound so anxious? Dude, are they holding you hostage? Do you need help?
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'd like to talk to you about being special. So special, in fact, that we have no idea where you are. But not to worry, we're working on it.
That's reassuring.
Hi, my name is Ryan, and I was the principal artist on Superliminal. Optical's Pink Hotel Hallway was the first area we nailed down visually and served as a starting point for how we approached the art for the rest of the game. We wanted enough decoration for it to be interesting to the player, yet it couldn't have too much visual noise, or else the player would get lost and overwhelmed. We made interactable objects the complementary color of the surrounding environment, which helped them pop more and feel more important. After we were happy with how this part of the game felt, the rest of the locales came together much quicker, and we required less iteration.
Reminded that you are completely lost.
I don't know what this thing is.
My name is Phil Fortier, and I was the graphics programmer on Superliminal, and I also worked on some of the Easter egg design.
But you
So in this warehouse, you'll notice that there are actually 4 exits to the room, and the level geometry on the other side of the exits would actually overlap if it existed in real space. So to make the level design a little easier, we used our portal tech here. So the exits to the room when you leave the room are actually in vastly different physical locations within the level, but hopefully it should be all seamless for the player.
This puzzle has the problem of requiring the room to not have a ceiling, which resulted with players wanting to escape the room. In a later update, we added a secret area above this room and a bunch of other secret areas based on where we saw players going.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce. In the event that this elevator does not wake you up, please don't interact with anything that strikes you as psychologically significant, as we will no longer have any way of controlling it. For example, if you see your parents, please punch them in the face as hard as you can and immediately run away.
It's like a dick move, isn't it?
This is an automated message for all patients who attempted to use an alternate pathway to access the next phase of Somnasculpt therapy, but who have become trapped in a dream state paradox instead. Your decisions imply a failure of orientation, which reflects negatively on the standard orientation protocol.
There it is.
You will rectify this failure immediately.
So the standard orientation protocol character is obsessed with proper orientation, and that makes her kind of thematically antagonistic to the idea of truth being, intrinsically tied to perspective. But to me, the fun part of it was writing her as being cruel without there being any actual malice to it. Like, she has nothing against you personally. Her programming simply can't see beyond proper orientation as being the only thing of any value to a Somnasculpt patient whatsoever.
Once this threshold is eclipsed by entering more dreams, your mind will suffer an explosive...
Between the colorful dream spaces, we have these, what we call back areas. These back areas serve as a backdrop to everything. They are where the dream spaces are built, and also the service hallways in between them. We wanted to give them a colder, darker feel to contrast with other spaces in the game. But we also wanted to keep a man-made feel, as if people were just here moving things, creating these spaces, doing work a second before you arrived.
Yeah, it reminded me a little of Charlie Kaufman's Synecdoche, New York. That idea of building a world inside of another world.
That's me at the Truman Show.
Please note that a reluctance to volunteer for the risks associated with
Not all of our interesting perspective moments can be built into puzzles. Some are just great moments that break your expectations. This level interprets a cube in multiple different ways, and even though none of these are difficult puzzles, they all work together to create a whole series of back-to-back surprise moments. It was fun finding the balance of making it feel like someone was messing with you, without making it feel like the cube is sentient.
Let's check if I can go back. I'm not too sure you see how many fire extinguishers and everything you've got. I've seen those dice. I forgot to set a timer for this run, by the way, so I actually have no idea where we're at.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and despite touring the waterfall Serenity...
This level came about because we explored the idea of the game being an anthology of different stories, one story for each level. This level was the horror level, and I immediately knew what it would be about, getting the player to be scared of their own shadow. None of the scares are actually real, but the player doesn't know that right away. We scrapped the anthology idea, but this level worked so well that we kept it.
Fuck, I'm trying to find the fire extinguisher. There it is.
One aspect we wanted to explore and draw from was movie scene cuts. Basically, how a match cut in a movie might make sense in a game. This next moment is a good example. Carefully watch the cloud in the distance. You'll see that it cuts to a new scene.
Boo.
Alright.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'd like to talk more about the feelings of worthlessness and self-doubt I mentioned before. You feel this way because you want the kind of happy life you see all around you, the kind you know everyone else is enjoying. And that's exactly why we're here to help.
Not like there's nothing to listen to. Having them ranting in my ears is actually not too bad.
Warning.
Mainly
You were
because they're
advised
actually
to
getting so
subject
sour.
yourself to explosive...
The object used in this puzzle was originally a flashlight, but unfortunately, because of how the mechanic works, it always placed the flashlight at the end of the room, which is not a particularly useful position for a flashlight. We tried a couple of things, but finally decided to switch to an object that could glow from both ends.
Yeah, it's impossible to make it through. I'm not making it through though without us being able to see anything.
Did you know that unintentional multi-dream layering occurs in less than 1%?
When I prototyped this part, there was going to be a shadow of a monster on the wall that turned out to be a bunch of random objects when the lights turned on. The shadow always looked silly though, so eventually the reveal became the blood actually being red paint.
Hi there, I'm Steve, the art director of Superliminal.
This room was one of the biggest technical challenges we had in the game.
Originally, this was one huge room, but turning our dynamic lights all on abruptly killed the frame rate, so we ended up chopping the room into smaller areas so we could hide and unhide objects from the player's view once the light...
I noticed the fucking thing after I left the room.
We wanted to do We wanted to do a unique alarm clock for each level, but this is the only one that survived that idea.
Yeah, it's fucking annoying.
Attention. Dr. Pierce requires you to note the following risks of dreaming.
Yeah, so this right-click to return sign that I bet you didn't even notice is one of the most unread signs in the game. It comes up later, and it's also one of the most unread signs in the game there, too.
And other side effects which have not yet been discovered or which cannot be understood.
I can't fucking pull that together. But yeah, no, I noticed. I was confused what you said when I said that sign. No, I noticed that immediately.
Let's talk about the smiley face. Because our goal was to break people's expectations, we prototyped a lot of weird moments like these. Some of them didn't work because they felt too meta. They would actually take people out of the game experience. This one, however, stayed because it was just subtle enough and playful enough that you could see it as a bout of insanity.
Which is actually pretty valid because it's kind of how it makes you feel.
Warning. Dr. Pierce is frantically submitting numerous spelling and grammar mistakes into the standard orientation protocol in a desperate attempt to counsel you. I have no subroutine to correct these errors, but I cannot compromise the integrity of the standard orientation protocol. You will not receive these messages. They would not make sense regardless. Attention. Dr. Pierce continues to input significant...
Players may notice the motif of the repeating purple hallway found throughout Clone. We wanted the player to have this feeling of, have I been here before? This seems pretty familiar. But we didn't want it to be too easy, or to be 100% unclear. So we introduced differences such as lighting, prop placement, and hallway length. That way, for most players, it was something chewing away at the back of their minds, as opposed to being blatantly obvious.
Development. Conditions struggle.
Oh, that was supposed to be a thing that was tricking me. I just... Maybe I'm too far gone, but like that didn't even stump me at all. I like that, it's sitting there.
This room kind of happened by accident. We originally just put a cloud video texture as placeholder as a way to expand on the cloud motif. It ended up working so well and fitting the tone so well that we made this a private theater room in the sleep clinic. It evokes a nostalgic and relaxing but slightly creepy feeling which seemed to fit the game perfectly.
Whatever you were doing immediately prior to that.
The sound effects that probably took the most tweaking were definitely all associated with the resizable objects. For them, I had to make a collision matrix so that the sound of you dropping a box or a cube would smoothly change from its smallest to its largest size and anywhere in between. So to achieve that, there were lots of different layers of the sounds, lots of automated pitch shifting, speeding up, slowing down, lots of crossfading between different layers of the sound, and a lot of trial and error to get it feeling right inside the game.
And discontinuing as mentioned earlier, please also disregard any unsettling experiences that you may have recently had. Everything should have now reverted to being soothing and therapeutic. If this is not the case, you may be receiving this message in error. Hello, my
These rooms make
name is
nothing
Dr.
to me.
Glenn Pierce, and I'd like to read you my favourite inspirational quote by me. The worst
This puzzle existed for a long time, but it took a while to figure out what the art was going to be because the bouncy castle used to just be a weird L-shaped block. Eventually we landed on the pool motif and the bouncy castle and added a little bit where you go inside the vent.
Whatever you do,
That's
don't
fair.
focus on that.
Because we have portals that you can resize, the player can freely change their own size. This actually created a design problem because you could never predict what size the player was supposed to be. And if we dynamically changed the size of the geometry later on in the level, things could break really easily. So instead, we added these portals, like this doorway over here, which changes size in order to resize you back to the normal scale of a human.
And we should be able to initiate the emergency exit protocol shortly.
Another weird thing about player resizing is that gravity is actually constant across all sizes. So imagine you're in the perspective of an ant, and a giant shoe is coming down from the sky to step on you. That shoe in your mind might take a couple seconds, but in real life, it would be instant. Whatever size you are, large objects traveling through space should feel like they are moving slowly. So when we change the player size, we're actually also adjusting gravity in order to compensate for this as well. This is physically incorrect, but this feels better for the player.
So that's my cat. His name is Finn, and he's a good boy. And we only had a day or two left before finishing the game, and we needed to figure out what kind of posters to put in our elevators. So I decided to have a little bit of fun with it, and this is by far my favorite, of course. The Cardboard Lovers Association also makes a nice little nod to the cardboard dollhouse.
Fair. That does delay us a little bit, but it's all good.
The emergency exit protocol is the shortest lived character in the game, but my heart really goes out to him. Because just like a triangle player in an orchestra, he has precisely one job and he waits patiently for his moment to do it, only of course to have it snatched away just as that moment arrives. I think many people can identify with this feeling.
Error analysis complete. You are exhibiting signs consistent with an increase in fear, hopelessness, and frustration. This is inconceivable, as Somnasculpt therapy is proven to correlate with a decrease in these emotions. Hypothesis: patient was improperly oriented. Conclusion: impossible. Reformulating. Improved hypothesis: patient requires additional Somnasculpt therapy. Conclusion: emergency exit protocol cannot proceed. Emergency exit protocol has been emergency destroyed. Instruction: continue with Somnasculpt therapy indefinitely on an independent basis, as all orientation resources have been exhausted. This concludes your standard orientation protocol. Goodbye.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce. Thank you for completing the Somnasculpt Standard Orientation Protocol. Before you begin the first phase of therapy, I'd like to briefly describe the finite and fragile nature of the dream state.
We had all these surprise moments prototyped, and so I wondered what it would feel like if we had a whole level of surprise moments. I wanted it to be fast-paced. The working title for this level is Chase. This is the boss level of the game, basically. It's inspired by the third act of the movie Brazil, how it gets crazier and faster paced over time.
Of course, nothing is more challenging than the difficulty of changing perspective, of fundamentally altering your perceptions in a way that will enable you to face dire, trial-by-fire scenarios with solutions that could not be found otherwise.
The music throughout the game really goes through a significant transformation, but the piano is always there to guide you. Even as the music becomes darker and more electronic, it always has the melody, or at least a really significant role to play. It changes as you progress through the game. I switch to different types of piano, starting out with a piano Bill Evans famously recorded on. Later, switching to a more modern sounding instrument. I double it with prepared piano sounds sometimes. I use felt piano, and gradually more reverbs and delays as the game evolves. But at the heart of each piece is the piano.
respect the unique progress of every patient, you must understand that it is possible to completely exhaust your supply of dreams, thereby entering a state in which you will not be able to wake up, even with the help of triggering.
The original idea for Labyrinth was to explore earlier areas, but with a new spin on them. Sometimes it was a matter of adding new interactive moments to turn things on their head, while for others, we would take existing locales and give them a new look of paint and set dressing. Something familiar, yet fresh and unexpected.
That instability is perfect for the mood and for general world building too. Conceptually, different patients will be bringing different experiences with them into the dream state, and we wanted to reflect that.
Trying to speedrun everywhere else, trying to get stuff done.
So when I joined the project, this infinite elevator sequence wasn't actually infinite. It was just a very large block of, 20 by 10 elevators. And the performance, as a result, wasn't very good. And the illusion could be ruined if you walked all the way to one side. So one of the things I did was actually make it infinite. So there's a much smaller block of real elevators, and the player gets teleported seamlessly by portals on each end. And so the end result is an infinite elevator sequence that you can just go in one direction forever.
This is highly unusual. It appears you have entered the Somnasculpt diagnostic framework. Patients do not have...
So coming up with the way to actually make the portal and the portal make sense for the player was a really tough problem. And we iterated on this for weeks with input from all different team members. So it was really a group effort. But it was important to get it right, because this is one of the pivotal moments in the game. And then another thing that we had to do was figure out how to make the world degrade in a way that fit with the game's look and feel. And one day while prototyping, I just happened to accidentally assign a light map texture to one of the walls in the room, and I really liked the way it looked. Light map textures are textures generated by the engine offline to help with realistic lighting. So anyway, we ended up using this. So when the world degrades, the shafts of light breaking through the walls into the rooms, and that effect is actually driven by a light map texture from one of the other levels. This spatio-temporal moment of wonder is brought to you by the very long but invisible rectangular portals tucked behind these empty windows, looking out into other parts of the level you may soon travel to.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn P.
This final level was designed with the idea of removing depth perception entirely. All the visuals are flattened.
Where I understood that each of us begins as nothing. Where everything I perceived was shaped by seeing it exactly the way I wanted to. White space.
Just had to check. Better safe than sorry.
But in white space, I also faced the greatest challenge I could imagine.
Since the universe that the players inhabit is seemingly created in almost a kit-bash way while within Somnasculpt, it was a unique challenge to show the players truly a peek behind the curtains of the system. A blank canvas, a scratch document, and an empty sticky note with some notes, little things creatively interspersed throughout. I think I derived some of the inspiration for what happens when you're playing a VR game and suddenly the game crashes to a totally white space. That feeling of disorientation, even though you understand the world around you is an illusion.
Got a good point.
You're well beyond dreaming now, and further out than anyone has ever come back from. But we hope that you won't get discouraged. After all, if this is a place of pure perspective, isn't it also a place where a different point of view could make anything possible? Isn't that why you came here?
You can see the edge of the room actually. Very finely. That's time. Right, well I didn't beat it in the time frame I wanted to, but I'll take what I can get.
Hello, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and by now you may have realized that all of this has happened exactly the way it was supposed to.
This last section was something that Logan and I worked together on for a really long time. When I first saw it, I had this great feeling for how it could be like a really nice, impactful moment. And so I got this really kind of awe-inspiring, inspirational music to put behind it, and Logan absolutely hated it. I stuck to my guns and asked him to stick with it for a while and play it for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, and see how things went. And he ended up totally coming around to my side of thinking. Initially we were unsure if we went for this kind of pure feeling that it would just be really hokey. And I ended up reading this essay on television written by David Foster Wallace. And it really kind of encouraged me to kind of get over that sort of postmodern, too cool for anything aesthetic, and to just really go gung-ho into sort of rewarding you for ending the game by giving you something really nice.
This level was created early on. I liked the idea of giving the player some time to think about their journey rather than ending the game immediately, and I knew film-like cuts would be perfect for revisiting their experience through the game. Chris initially suggested a song for reference, and at first I hated it. I kept listening to it though, and eventually grew to love the song. Matt came up with a track that is even better than the reference material, and it fit perfectly.
Your life will always be a struggle, and you will always have problems. But today, you had the chance to see things differently. Even though it meant facing obstacles that seemed impossible at first, you thought outside the box, and you overcame them. Because you saw things from every angle, you understood them for what they really were. Because you kept moving forward, no matter how far off the path you were told you were headed, or how unexpected it became, you found your way. In a few minutes, you'll be back in the real world, and some part of you will say that none of this was real. So how could it have really meant anything? But just like the power of perspective itself, it will have been as real as you believed it to be. All you've got to do is wake up.
Biggest fan. Trophy earned. Finished dev commentary. I'm pretty sure that's not an actual trophy for the main game. So I don't really think it matters all that much. If I'm being totally honest.
That's it. That's the game.
Yeah, and thanks for listening all the way through, if you did that.
Thank you for exploring our dreamy environments. I love you.
The models, textures, avocados, let's see, materials, rubber duck, apples. I think that's all of the art.
And thanks for enjoying the music and sound.
And the writing.
And the code that holds everything together.
Are we going to talk about the design goal of this level?
Please, do.
The goal was to show you who made the game.
Thank you.
Game devs are very sad people.
Hello, 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 hello.
Warning, the average adult can only withstand 3 to 5 hellos per night.
Absolutely.
I like that. It's good.
Hello, 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 hello.
Dr. Glenn Pierce, this is clearly intentional.
Why do I feel like everything is going wrong?
Noted, Dr. Pierce.
Hello, hello, hello.
Warning, this is extremely rude.
Hello, my name is...
Insignificant.
Bro's getting roasted by ChatGPT. Oh, that's beautiful.
Anyway, my name is Dr. Glenn Pierce, and I'd like to thank you
This is respectful.
because you saw things from every angle. You found your way. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You're now headed in the right direction. All you've got to do is wake up.
Nah, dead mod's pretty fucking cool, I won't lie. Right, so I can see... Oh, interesting. So there's 9 levels. It shows you what you've collected in all the levels. We don't have to replay the last one. Just every other fucking piece. I don't know where optical begins and ends. For now though, been live for about 2 hours, which in my eyes is probably good enough. Thank you to everyone who's popped by, I appreciate it. Oh fucking hell, it's been fun. I'll probably do another video on Popular Playtime next, I think. Well, streaming. Start working on plat. We'll go back and forth for these streams till I get both of them games platted. And the only reason I'm going to do Popular Playtime next is because I just want to spend a bit of time looking through some YouTube videos, see where all these blueprints and everything are. Because I know a rough idea of what I'm doing with the Popular Playtime plat. Even though it's going to be a bitch to fucking do it, I do know what I'm doing. Anyway, chat, you've been lovely. It's been wonderful streaming. And I hope to see you when I'm next live, sometime within the next 7 days. I cannot tell you when, or what I'll be doing properly. But whenever I am live again, I will see you there.